It always begins in silence. The house is still, the afternoon light stretches long across the floor, and there, in the very center of your living room, your cat chooses to fall apart in slow motion. A small body surrenders to gravity, spine softening, paws drifting open. Then comes the gesture that seems to hold all the answers you've been waiting for. The roll to the side, the full exposure of the belly, fur catching the light like a secret being revealed. You pause. There is a strange tenderness in that moment, almost human. The day's worries fall away for a second as you watch this creature. So independent, so elusive, bare its most vulnerable place as if saying, "I am safe here, with you." Somewhere inside, a quiet joy rises. Finally, you think, this is trust. This is love made visible. Your hand moves before your mind catches up. Fingers reach toward the soft, warm center of that trust. And then, everything changes. In a flash, the relaxed body becomes a coiled spring. Paws close around your wrist, claws grazing skin. Teeth find the space between pain. The soft belly becomes a trap, a battlefield, a crossroads of instinct. You pull back, startled, maybe a little hurt, sometimes by the scratch, sometimes by the rejection. What went wrong? How did affection turn into attack and a heartbeat? For a brief, uncomfortable moment, doubt slips in. Does my cat actually trust me? Am I misreading everything? You replay the scene in your mind. The exposed belly, the slow blink, the calm breathing. It felt like an invitation. It felt like a yes. And yet, the answer you got was no. But what if the problem isn't your cat at all? What if the misunderstanding begins in the human need to touch what we love, to confirm with our hands what our eyes and heart think they see? In this film, we are going to step behind that everyday drama and listen to it differently. We will treat that exposed belly not as a simple "pet me" button, but as a piece of complex language. A sentence in a quiet dialogue about safety, power, territory, and intimacy. We'll ask, when a cat shows its belly, what is it really saying? And more importantly, what happens inside your relationship depending on how you choose to answer? As we move forward, keep one memory in mind. That one time your cat showed the belly and then betrayed you. Hold that moment gently, because in the next chapter, we'll uncover what your cat's body was trying to tell you all along. It usually begins in the most ordinary way. Late afternoon light filters through the window, the house finally quiet after a long day. On the couch, you exhale, your body still carrying the noise of work, responsibilities, worries. And then, there they are, your cat, stretching slowly on the rug, spine curving like a wave, before rolling onto their back and stopping. Belly exposed, eyes half closed, paws relaxed in the air as if time itself could wait. In that moment, something in you softens. You read the scene instinctively as a human, an open chest, a vulnerable body, an invitation to closeness. Maybe you even smile. Mate, now you really love me. You lean in, hand outstretched, ready to offer what, in your language, is affection. But in the microseconds before your fingers meet that soft fur, your cat's body is already changing. The pupils narrow, then flare. The tail, which seemed lazily still, gives a small, quick flick. The back paws brace. To human eyes, it's almost invisible. To a cat, it's a complete shift of state. Then it happens. Teeth, claws, the back legs, powerful and precise, trap your hand and kick it away. Your gentle caress becomes a target. You pull back, surprised, a little hurt, maybe even rejected. But you showed me your belly, you think. Why did you ask for love just to punish me for giving it? That confusion is where many relationships with cats quietly crack, not in dramatic moments, but in tiny misunderstandings repeated again and again. You offer touch, they respond with defense. You feel refused, they feel invaded. Two species, each convinced they are right, lost in translation around a single exposed belly. Yet, if we press pause right there, on the image of your cat lying on their back, eyes watchful, paws suspended, we begin to see a different story. For the cat, this position is not simply pet me or do away. It is a complex statement about safety, territory, trust, and control. A wild animal that survives by never showing weakness is suddenly revealing its softest, most unprotected place in the center of your living room. Is that not, in itself, a declaration? The real question is not, why did my cat attack me? But what exactly were they saying before I touched? To answer that, we need to step outside the human idea of affection and enter the silent language of feline psychology, the language written in whiskers, tails, and whiskers. If you've ever looked at your cat's exposed belly and wondered whether it was a trap or a treasure, stay with this thought. Maybe your cat has been honest with you all along, and it's our interpretation that needs to change. In the next moment, we'll slow everything down and decode, signal by signal, what that apparently simple pose is truly trying to tell you. On the surface, the scene always looks the same. A cat, stretched out, belly exposed as if offering the softest part of its body to the world. But inside that still frame, there are different stories being told. To read them, we have to slow down and look closer. Imagine your living room in the living room. The television is off, the house finally quiet. Your cat chooses the center of the rug, rolls onto their back, and rests there like a small, furry question mark. If you pause the moment, tiny details begin to emerge. Are the front paws loose, almost falling apart from each other? Is the tail lying like a comma on the floor? Or is the tip twitching, writing invisible warnings in the air? Are the eyes half closed and blinking gently, or wide, shining, tracking every movement you make? This is where the real conversation happens. Some bellies are the pose of pure relaxation. Paws slightly bent, claws hidden, body almost melting into the floor. The cat breathes slowly, whiskers relaxed, eyes soft. It's not exactly an invitation to touch. It's more a confession. Here, in this house, I feel safe enough to expose my most vulnerable side. A silent compliment to the life you built together. Other bellies carry a spark of tension. The cat flops dramatically, then freezes. The ears are not fully back, but not fully forward either. The gaze flicks between you and some invisible point in the room. The tail makes short, quick movements. This is the "I'm comfortable, but I'm also ready" posture. A mix of trust and instinct. Touch here, without reading the signs, and your hand becomes part of the game, or the threat. And then there is the rare, delicate moment when a cat truly says, "You may." It usually does look theatrical. The cat might roll slightly to the side instead of fully on the back, stretching just enough to reveal a portion of the belly. The head may tilt toward you, followed by a slow blink. If you move closer, and they stay soft, maybe even gently push their head or chest into your hand, the door opens a little more. Sometimes, your fingers graze the edge of the belly, and instead of claws, you get a deeper exhale, a subtle surrender. But here is where most humans make the same mistake. We rush. We see the exposed belly and react with our own instinct, the desire to touch what looks soft, cute, irresistible. We confuse the cat's trust in the environment with permission to invade their core. For a species that survives by protecting the stomach and throat, that confusion is enormous. Have you ever noticed how differently your cat responds depending on whether you ask with your body or simply take with your hand? Lean forward slowly, offer the fingertips, let them sniff, decide, retreat if they tense up. It feels almost like a negotiation, a quiet agreement between two very different animals sharing the same home. In the next moment, we'll go one layer deeper into this negotiation and confront the uncomfortable truth. Sometimes, The greatest act of love is choosing not to touch it at all. Now imagine this same scene from two completely different angles. From the sofa, you see fur, softness, a temptation almost impossible to resist. At the height of your cat, the world is another story. Shadows moving on the ceiling, distant sounds in the corridor, the faint memory of that time. A strange hand came too fast. On screen, we see a cat stretched on its back, paws curled. The narrator's voice slows down, inviting you to observe. The tail is still. The whiskers are relaxed. The breathing is deep. This is not a trap. This is a cat that finally, for a brief moment, forgot to be on guard. A rare window where the animal, so often alert, allows itself to be simply a body at rest. Then we cut to another cat, also on its back. But the camera lingers on the details you might usually miss. The tail flicking like a metronome, the ears slightly angled to the side, the eyes not fully soft, but watchful. The paws are not open and loose. They are hovering, ready. It looks like the same pose.
It is not the same state of mind.
And this is where most humans make their biggest mistake. We don't read the punctuation in the cat's body language. We see the bully and skip straight to the stroke, ignoring the commas of the tail, the parentheses of the ears, the question mark in the eyes. In a quiet living room, a woman in her 50s approaches her cat. For years, every belly meant scratches. This time, she kneels beside the animal instead. She doesn't touch. She just sits. The cat blinks slowly. Its paws uncurl a little more. It yawns, exposing teeth, but the body melts into the rug. The invitation, this time, is not, "Pet me." It is, "Stay with me as I am." How many times has your hand spoken louder than your patience? How many times did you answer a question your cat never asked? In the next part, we will go one step further. When, if ever, does that belly actually mean you may touch? And how do you earn that moment without breaking the fragile bridge of trust you're building now? Now imagine this. It is late at night. The television is on but muted. The city outside your window has finally quieted down. You are on the couch, a blanket over your legs, a cup of tea cooling on the side table. Your cat jumps up, circles once, twice, and then, almost in slow motion, collapses beside you, rolling to the side and exposing the belly. The paws are loose, the eyes half closed, the breathing deep and slow. In that small, intimate moment, there is a question hanging in the air. Will you understand me this time? You feel the familiar impulse, the almost childlike urge to reach for that soft fur. But this time, instead of moving your hand, you pause, you look. You notice the tail, quiet and still. The whiskers relaxed. The claws sheathed. You realize that what you are seeing is not an invitation to touch, but proof of something much more rare. A creature who, for a few seconds, has decided to exist completely without defense in your presence. That is not a request for action. It is a confession of trust. In another home, on another couch, someone else faces the exact same scene and makes a different choice. Their hand moves automatically. Fingers sink into the belly, the rhythm a little too fast, a little too intense. The cat's pupils widen, the back leg twitches, the tail flicks once, twice, and then attack. Claws wrap around the wrist, teeth graze the skin. The person pulls away, frustrated. "I don't understand," they say, half laughing, half hurt. "You showed me your belly. Why can't I pet you? Why can't I pet you?" What neither human sees clearly is that every one of these moments is a test, not of the cats, but of our ability to respect boundaries we do not fully understand. For the cat, the equation is simple. When I am vulnerable near you, do you honor that vulnerability, or do you override it for your own pleasure? Over time, the answer we give, hand held back or hand pushed in, shapes the invisible map of trust between us. Some people discover this by accident. After years of scratches, one day they are too tired to move when the belly appears. They just watch, quietly. The cat stretches, sighs, and falls asleep, exposed and peaceful. No claws, no teeth, no drama. And in that silence, a realization arrives. Perhaps the real way to pet a cat's. A cat's belly is not with your fingers, but with your restraint. So what happens when, after many moments of respectful distance, a cat finally chooses to place that vulnerable place directly into your hand? How does a relationship change when the belly is no longer a battlefield, but an earned gift? So maybe, tonight, the scene looks familiar. The house is quiet, the day finally loosening its grip. A lamp glows softly in the corner. The television murmurs something you aren't really watching, and on the rug, your cat stretches and rolls. There it is again, that pale, vulnerable belly, exposed to you like a secret. But this time, you don't rush in. You pause. You breathe. You breathe. You remember. You see the small details you used to ignore. The position of the tail, the curve of the paws, the rhythm of the breath. Are the claws relaxed or hovering, just ready? Are the eyes half closed, or are they watching you through a narrow slit, measuring your next move? In that pause, something changes. You are no longer the human who assumes. You are the human who pregunta, silently. Is this an invitation or a confession of vulnerability? And your cat, in its own quiet language, answers. Maybe you slowly extend your hand, not to touch the belly, but to rest near the chest or to offer your fingers for a gentle sniff. Maybe you stop midway, reading the small twitch of a whisker as a clear "not today." Or maybe, in that rare golden moment, your cat softens even more, leans in, and lets you stroke a place it almost never offers to anyone. Not because you insisted, but because you esperu. Trust, between you and your cat, stops being a test you need to pass and becomes a conversation you choose to respect every day. The exposed belly is no longer a trap or a mystery that frustrates you. It's a mirror of how safe they feel in your presence and of how willing you are to honor that safety. So now I want to bring this back to you. When your cat rolls onto their back, what usually happens? Do you feel privileged or confused? Do you get the soft purr or the sudden bite and kick? Tell your story in the comments, your victories, your mistakes, the moment you finally understood, or still didn't. If this journey into the secret language of the feline belly opened a new window between you and your cat, stay with us. There is so much more hidden in a flick of the tail, in a slow blink, in the silent way your cat chooses a spot beside you instead of on you. Subscribe and come along as we keep decoding these quiet, everyday moments until living with a cat feels less like guessing and more like gently learning a new soul.